Hey YouTube, Enchantress is a technical, tricky character, but she can be tons of fun and really rewarding to play. So we're going to try to make a very basic guide and kind of drill down the essentials of what you need to know to play Enchantress. Timestamps below, let's get started. So I do have an Enchantress overview guide if you want to know more about the general character before you dive into the guide, link down in the description below. Today we're going to kind of talk about how to play Enchantress effectively. So talk about normal specials, what combos you need to know, and some of the strategies that will kind of help you get wins with this character, right? But if I were to describe her playstyle in a few words, it would be technical, tricky, and like actually pretty well rounded, right? She has zoning, she has really good rush down, she has really good mix up. A couple things she's lacking are like low health, low damage, and some of her mid-range presence could be a little better. Yeah, let's start with a normal. So 5A, 2A, just your standard low pokes. 5B is your main poke to go to in neutral. Reaches pretty far. It's actually pretty good for a 5B frame data wise too. You also have 2B, which you're not really going to throw out neutral, but you're going to always want to chain after 5B, 2B. So this is kind of your essential if you're like running up in neutral. Just check them out for 5B, 2B. You also have 2 air normals. The JA doesn't get too much usage. The only time you'd use it is for like an instant overhead. We'll talk about how to do that later. But the JB is pretty much your go-to normal. Air to air, your jumping, your safe jump button. JB does it all. That's mostly what you're going to be using. All right, so for specials, 5S is these little thorns that kind of come out. They're decent pressure tool. They're decent for neutral. Where I think this really shines is if you have conversion, so the white life, you can press the thorns and white life and then just go in straight after. I think this is her best conversion move. So I'm always looking like if I have white life to do something like this. But other than that, like it makes decent pressure tool. Like you can do something like 5S, 2S into thorns, and that's plus and also combos on hit. So that can be pretty good, although there are some ways around it, like it has a gap so someone can DP the gap or they can roll past it. 6S is this fireball. You can charge it up to 3 levels. That's level 2, and then that level 3 is like a hard knockdown. They stay down for a while. You're not going to find yourself using this too much. It does have some like applicability in combos. You could do something like this and get a charged fireball in a combo, but generally you're not going to be using this in neutral. If anything, you're going to be using a 6S in neutral a little bit, just to kind of a little faster than the thorns. Don't use it too much in neutral. Her JS, by the way, this one I think does get a little more usage, right? Because it's very good at like stopping people. Let's say you back jump and they're trying to chase your back jump. You can do a JS. Like that's kind of hard to deal with. Like they can roll it, but if they're not looking to roll it, they might just block, and then you have the advantage to kind of set up a minion or whatnot. 4S, this move is actually really good. Think of it as like if these two are your fast fireballs to kind of catch someone. 4S is sort of you can run in behind it, right? And you get that little hit after the explosion. You don't really get much of a combo, right? You can't go into your standard combo routes because there's too much scaling. So what I like to do, just if that ever lands, I get an air fireball and I push them all the way to the corner. Again, you always want to get corner carry with Enchantress because her corner games are really good. But yeah, you always want to throw this out when you have a safe means to do so, right? If you're playing like in this range, it's really hard to throw out 4S because they can just walk up and hit you. But if you're full screen or like they just got hit by a thorns or like your 6MS, yeah, it's a good time to throw it out and then try to walk behind it, right? Make sure you establish that presence. One thing that people will do when you do 6S is they'll try to jump over it. So always make sure you're looking for an anti-air when that happens, right? Speaking of anti-airs, one of your best anti-airs is 2S. So this is like your big damage anti-air. So, ideally look something like that. But this also is really good in pressure. So something like this is that's gapless, and that's also plus. It's really good in the corner because you stay right next to them. So that's mostly you're gonna be using in combos, you're gonna be using in pressure, occasionally as an anti-air. So her other anti-air is her DP, right? And this thing is absolutely massive. It's a very good anti-air. You do want to make sure you time it a little bit early because it is on the slower side, but it's very good anti-air. It'll even catch like people trying to stall their jump in. Like my 2S whiffs there, but DP will have no trouble anti-airing that whatsoever. DP is way easier to use than 2S, so that's usually what I use most of the time. this is kind of where the bear comes into play, because actually the hitbox is the bear, not Enchantress. So if I DP, you see how the DP actually happened off stream because the bear is off stream. So you have to be very mindful of where the bear is. I guess talk a little bit about the bear, right? The bear basically just follows you when you're not in the bear mode. So you see how, like, if I move a little bit, the bear stays still. But if I move back, the bear comes with me. If I move forward, the bear comes with me, right? The other way you can move the bear is by pressing 5M. Lets you control the bear. So you see how the bear goes a little further. You can also crouch and hold down forward. The bear goes forward. Crouch and down back, the bear goes back. And you see my MP's not draining that fast right now. It's because I'm in Awakening. Her Awakening buff makes it basically so mad her bear drains less magic. Just to compare, here's what it looks like outside of Awakening. You see it's about like maybe triple the rate. It's way faster, right? And so because this magic rate is so quick, you generally don't get enough time to like walk mad to the opponent and then get a move. But usually if you do, you know, you can run in and you can get pressure. That's usually where it shines, is like you don't use it as a pure zoning tool, but use it to get in. So let's talk about the mad moves, right? So after you press 5M, you're controlling it. You have this little purple aura. You have 3 moves, right? You have 6M, which is this little swipe. It's decent. It's like you know, you're plus a lot, so you can frame trap. I honestly don't use it that much. I prefer the 2MS because you're just more plus, and you can get like a true block string jumping in, and it's just really good. And you get pressure like that. It's very nice. You also use 2MS in combos a lot. The other move she has is the 4MS, so it's this little flame move. You'll see this in the trial mode combos, which you should never do in match, by the way. I think the biggest strength of this move is that, like, from this range, you can just do the flame and then you can run behind it and you can get a mix up. I think it's very good. Her JMS does the same exact thing. It just puts the bear in a different position. You can actually hold left and right to like make the bear spawn in a different location. So this is actually really useful in their combos because you want the bear to spawn closer to the opponent. So her other magic skills, 6MS, is this whip move. You can react to this, right? And you don't want to give them white life because that just gives them a free conversion. So what this is mostly used for is like a reactionary zoning tool. So let's say you're playing the mirror, you see Enchantress throw her 4S, you can just react with 6MS, right? So this is actually a free punish. Yeah, and you can block that. Some of the other characters like have really laggy moves, like Launcher, for example, full screen. You can react with 6MS as well. One thing I do recommend is make sure you don't use easy inputs. For the mad moves, you can actually use easy inputs because it doesn't matter. Your MP is going to drain regardless. But for base form magic moves, make sure you use the actual inputs because you want your mana to recover really quick, especially in like a zoning battle. The other special she has is the command grab. And the command grab is basically what makes the character why I think she's actually pretty good. Basically, you do the command grab. It's very slow, but it turns them into a stall. And if they're in the corner, they're basically forced to hold it. If they're not in the corner, they have a few options, right? They can jump out. They can try to hit you. Most people will try to jump and you have to chase and basically get a full combo, right? But what makes this good is, you know, Enchantress's pressure is all about like you can like, if they ever block this, right? It's literally a 50-50 between command grab and strike, right? And of course they have DP and other things that make it not 50-50, but you always have to play opponent guessing game when you're blocking against Enchantress, right? And she has a few different ways she can do it, right? She can just run up command grab. She can run up 5A command grab. She could run up 5A command grab, but in order to do the 5A command grab, there's a thing called a Kara command grab. And what you do is you press B and MS at the slightly delayed timing. So if you do the command grab tick, it looks like that. That one's a little more advanced. The one I like to do though, it's just 5A, go into the sweep, and then you cancel right before the second hit of the sweep hits. You go into command grab. I find this one really effective, and even on hit, you can go into the command grab too. You'll be using this command grab a lot, especially when they're in the corner, because she just gets crazy damage from it. All right, so let's talk about combos. So one thing you have to understand about the combo system in this game is if you start with a 5A, So this move or 2A, you can't get very much damage with the Enchantress, right? There's a few different options you can go for. My go-to is just doing something like 5A, 2A, and then go into the doll, right? Some characters have really good air actions, so because they can air tech and do an air action. So against some characters, you can just end in sweep or her 2B and then throw the doll like that and then get pressure, right? You really don't get much. There's a couple other variations that people do. Like they'll do this and they get pressure that way too. I like the other one because you get more carry, but figure out what works best for you. So what you want to land, let's say it's a DP punish, or you know, you're a neutral and you're just hitting 5B. This is the combo you want to go for. 5B, 2B, 2 hit. A couple tips to get this. So there's actually a micro dash after the 2B. It gives them enough height to drop down. Because if you don't do the micro dash, it looks like this, and you see how high up they are, right? So you want to give them time to drop. And so if you hit that micro dash, they're low enough. Other than that, the combo is pretty easy. The JB is immediate timing, just play JB 5M, JB 5M. I prefer this route. There's some other variations, but I think they're harder or less consistent. The core combo is actually very similar, except you don't need to go for the jump beat loops, right? Right, so it looks something like that. The reason I do a jump after is because it's a safe jump. What that means is that if the opponent's like mashing DP on wake up, and you see how I was able to block the DP, that's why I go for that ender, and then that lets you, you know, continue your pressure, right? So anyways, a couple tricks about this combo. So the run up is pretty easy. You just kind of do a natural timing, but you actually, there's a delay after the 2B here. All right, here's what it looks like with no delay. And then if you delay it, you get the hit, right? But basically you're letting them fall low enough so that the Mad 2M can actually hit them before they tech out. There's a couple other variations, right? Like let's say you're in the corner and you don't have magic. You can go straight into the charge fireball after the 2B, and then you get same ender, right? And then a safe jump. That's all I recommend learning for now. There's a lot of different variations though, but I kind of give you the basics. The one other combo you need to learn is a command grab combo. And again, you want to keep learning the command grab combos. You'll see a lot of different variations of command grab combos. Some of them are like kind of fake. The opponent can still jump or hit you, right? So you need to make sure that you do a right move. So for example, like some things that start with 2A, they could just jump out of that. You don't want to do that. But anyways, the combo route that's in this guide is consistent. It works. It's easy. Recommend practicing that before you get into some of the more sweaty combos, right? So what you do, 2S cancel into the frog, immediate air, fireball, and then the same ender is the other bread and butters, right? And that does like what? That did like 60%. One other thing to keep in mind is that, like, let's say you have awakening, right? So you can always tack on a super at the end of any of these combos, right? They all have the same ender. So right after the air fireball, just mash super and you'll get it. Again, you want to do the awakening super anytime it'll kill. So anytime that kills, spend the awakening. If it's not going to kill, I generally don't think it's worth it because you lose your awakening buff and you don't get a mix up after. If you want to tack on a little extra damage, you can get that 2B after. Sometimes it'll drop though, so... But I mean, it's pretty consistent. I think it's worth going for. All right, so let's talk about advanced combos. So a couple things, if you want some more things to practice too. This is after a 5A starter, right? You can get a micro dash 2B into the bear, but you actually have to press a 5A after you do the cancel. It's a little more damage, ends in a magic skill, so you can take away their white health, which is really important, right? You want to make sure you take away their white health. Especially if it's stacking up, you want to make sure, you know, to always use a magic skill because that'll take it away. Here's a sweaty mid-screen combo that you can do thanks to Zeiji. So very similar starter, but you loop the You loop the ender, right? Once more. Very, very hard. Again, don't recommend practicing this unless you're like deity rank. Last thing I have to share is a optimal command grab combo. So this is the most optimal as of recording of this guide. People might find more. But what happens here is you're actually, the double flash looks a little confusing, but you're just pressing 5M to switch to the bear mode, and then you're doing the bear to MS. And this works. There's a couple tight links in here, but overall it's not too bad. And yeah, that killed Swiftmaster for one command grab without awakening with 100 magic. But again, you want to make sure you get the basics down. You want to make sure you can actually hit that command grab before you, lab this combo out for 5 hours or however long it takes to get that consistently in match. All right, so let's talk about strategy. So you kind of know what to do with Enchantress. You got the basics down, but how do you apply it? How do you do in a match? What's your match flow look like, right? So start of the round, you always start at this distance. Your 5V is actually a pretty good round starter. Some characters have issue dealing with this, right? 10 frame startup, move start of the round. It'll be a lot of other common round starters. So let's say like Vanguard, for example, right? Don't be afraid to throw out that round start. So let's say it's someone like Swiftmaster, right? Don't be afraid to back off. Backdash is generally a very safe round start option. You are a zoner, so you can use that space pretty effectively, right? I think a lot of characters actually fuck up their round start with 5B. That's true, but if someone does a round start 5A, then you just do a delay 5B, and yeah, you went from there, right? You don't even like whiff punish it, you just do a micro delay 5B. But you're either gonna be in two modes, right? Generally, you don't want to be in like this range if you can avoid it, right? Like if you're gonna throw a fireball, you want to throw it like full screen, right? The whole goal is to like, throw fireballs, throw 5S's, throw air fireballs in order to get enough space to do this 4S, right? And then once you get the 4S out, you can run forward and, try to beat their anti-air attempt or go forward and then start a block string. Again, don't forget about 6MS. It's very strong. This is used for counter zoning, usually on reaction to something that the opponent's doing, or let's say like the opponent's like jumping. It's really good to like catch their full screen jump. Right, so you see that they anti-aired. The other cool thing is that it absorbs mana, so you can keep on the pressure as well. But anyways, once you get the pressure, right, whether it's following a 4S or it's just playing footsies, getting a run up 5S, right, you have a few different options on block, right? So this is one of your default options, especially mid-screen. You just go into 2B second hit, and then you cancel into the thorns, and you're plus after that, right? You can get a run up 5M, and it's really hard for them to test that. If you do it right, they can't jump out, they can't do anything like that. But you'll soon realize that this will lose to a lot of different options, right? So for example, they can DP this gap. They can also roll it too, and then they get a punish. So what you'll also need to do here is you can just cancel in the 5M, and if they happen to DP, you get a full punch. Or if they happen to roll, you get a full punch, right? So it's a weird mind game of like, you can continue pressure or you could try to bait something, right? Another thing you can also bait with this is you can actually bait a guard cancel. So you bait the guard cancel, and that's 5B punishable on block, and you get, the brand butter that we worked on earlier, right? But in the corner, you have a little bit more options, right? Your mad pressure's a lot better because again, if you mad pressure from out here, like the bear is really far away, but in the corner, the bear stays right on top of them, which is a lot better. The other thing you can do in the corner is you can cancel 2S into bear is also plus. Go into 2A, and then go into bear, right? And that literally just guard broke, right? You can chain the bear specials and this to make very effective block swings, and that was all plus. There's no point that the opponent could have mashed out. But of course, there's gaps. Basically, anytime you cancel into the bear, there's a gap, so they can DP and they can also guard cancel out, right? So it's definitely not unbeatable. But generally, you don't really get guard crushes with this character because, again, the whole point of this character is to land a command grab. Once you condition them to sit still by, using your bear cancels, then you just go in for a command grab and then they die. And that's what really makes this character fun and rewarding to play. Yeah. Trust me, it never gets old laying these command grabs into like 80-90% of their health. Very, very enjoyable. So what you're trying to do is condition them to sit still, to not mash, to not DP in order to land that command grab. Once you get the land that command grab, it's game over for them, you know? All right, so the last part of the advanced section, people are calling it the Kara MS, but basically what you're doing, you have your air fireball, right? You have your air MS move, right? Which is the summoning the bear. If you do the one into the other real quick, you get like this fastball. And it's pretty easy. You just press S and MS really fast, and the inputs look like this, right? Where you get the S before the MS. And what this allows you to do is, one, stop your air momentum, right? So like, let's say they're like DP anti-airing you, you just do this and then you'll stop. Another thing you can do is you can get a pretty quick overhead, right? That's pretty hard to react to. The other thing you can do is, like, after a jump in normal, you can get a double overhead, which I think that's impossible to react to. It's a little tricky. You do have to like delay the Kara a little bit, and then the combo after is a little tricky too. The other thing I think it's like good for is like repositioning your bear. Let's say you're full screen and you want to like get in right away. You can do like a reposition bear that takes him like from here to here, and then you can use a flame, and then you can get in right away after that, right? So pretty good. Other than that, on defense, it's pretty much just standard. You have guard cancel. Try to guard cancel after like a magic move, so you can get 5S conversion in order the neutral skip into, you know, command grab or or whatever, right? But that's pretty much the game plan, right? Play good neutral, get in, land a command grab. That's your win condition. One resource I'd recommend, Excalibur Blades. He's an OG like DOA player, but he probably has one of the best enchantresses I've seen. He's also like the first enchantress to make deity ranked. Very, very strong player. Another person I'd recommend is Seth LLL, OG god of fighting games, known for like Street Fighter Cross Tekken, but he's also playing Enchantress, also deity ranked, streams on Twitch, so check that out, link in the description below as well. And of course, I also stream Enchantress. I do this guide live on Twitch, and we're still trying to figure out the character together. I mean, I've been playing a little more Hitman than Enchantress, but I'm committed to learning Enchantress. I think she's the long play, because you know they got nerf Hitman sometimes, so I need a character to back me up on that. So yeah, links down in the description below. Consider following me if you're interested in learning more about the character. And as always, if you guys appreciate guides like this, please consider like, sharing, and subscribing. It really helps us out and helps us make more videos like this on YouTube. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you guys are enjoying Enchantress, and keep your heads held high. She'll get buff eventually, or we'll just all become so good with the character that you know, people will be crying for nurse. Anyways, have a good day. I'll see y'all next time. Smash the bell. Oh yeah, post notification bell on. I always forget that one.